Hi there and thanks for joining me today. My name is Mary Louise and I'm the founder of campingandcruising.com. If you're a first time cruiser and you've just booked your first cruise, you're probably wondering what to pack. I've cruised with many different fleets in the past. My realisation is that every ship is completely different. Every day in your stateroom you will receive a cruise compass. The cruise compass looks a little bit like this. This is one I had from a Royal Caribbean ship that we went on just recently. I knew there would probably be 2 or 3 formal evenings throughout the 2-week cruise. Now I like to dress up in the evenings anyway, but when there's a formal evening I like to go all out. On a normal evening for dinner I tend to just wear either jeans or smart trousers with a nice top. Sometimes I'll wear a casual dress, a summer dress. If it's a formal evening, you may want to consider wearing either a ball gown or a cocktail dress. Last year we cruised with Celebrity and we went on the Eclipse. There really weren't that many ladies in full-on ball gowns, but if you prefer to wear a ball gown, you'll still fit in with the sophistication on board. Your cruise compass, it should tell you what the plans are for that evening on board. Formal evenings are usually held when the cruiser is at sea. The first thing you'll see on your cruise compass is usually the weather forecast for that day and the dinner suggestion dress for that evening. When you've been out all day, you don't necessarily want to get back on board and dress for dinner. So you have a few choices when you're on board. You can either go to a main restaurant where you will be booked in for your meal, and that's where you can go probably every night, but you have to decide whether you want to eat early or late. There's usually 2 sit-ins. There's one sit-in at 6 o'clock and I believe the second sit-in is at 8:30. As a family, we decided to eat at 6 p.m. every evening because our daughter is just 5, and this left us time for us to have dinner and then go and see a show before we settle down for the night. Specialty restaurants on board are always really good, so if you really love a good steak or you like to have maybe some sushi or something different, then I highly recommend you try a specialty restaurant. So if you don't feel like dressing for dinner and you still want to eat in the restaurant, then an appropriate summer dress, smart trousers, jeans and a smart top will always do. You probably couldn't go for an evening meal in shorts or definitely not swimwear. That's not allowed in the restaurants at all, but you can get away with being smart casual and fairly laid back. If you don't want to go into the restaurant and you don't want to have a 3-course meal, you can go to the onboard cafe, which when I say cafe I literally mean a huge dining area where it's a buffet service style restaurant and you can just help yourself to whatever is on the menu that night, and stuff that's served in the canteen in the buffet is usually the same as what's served down in the restaurant anyway. The only difference really is that you don't get a waiter service and you have to serve yourself, which is great for some people that like to just go ahead and choose a variety of foods and they just want to eat their dinner in peace and then head off to bed. So again, on board buffet areas, no swimwear is allowed, but you could go in there in shorts. Routine on board is to get up in the morning, put my gym stuff on, and then I'm fine to head off into the buffet style restaurant just to help myself to a coffee or some breakfast. And I'm going to show you some outfits that I choose to wear when I'm on holiday. We have cruised with Cunard. This was an exceptional ship. The on-board dress code really probably is quite different to other cruises that we've been on. And I did have to take extra clothing with me because I really was unsure about what to wear, and I'm glad I took extra dresses because with Cunard you do get lots of little touches that aren't really included in other cruises. For instance, every day at 4 p.m. they like to serve a tea. They like to serve tea on board, but this isn't just a normal tea where you can turn up in your jeans and t-shirt. You really do have to dress for the occasion, and you'll have a butler in white gloves serving you tea and cake. It's such a nice traditional English thing to do that I really enjoyed cruising with the Cunard when my daughter, I think she was just 2 or 3 years old, but that's something she does with her granddaddy anyway. Their thing on a cruise is to go for their tea, so for them to have tea and cake all dressed up was just a really lovely experience, and it's just made some really lovely memories for our family. So I'm glad I took some extra tea dresses with me. On board any fleet of ships, they do sometimes serve tea, and sometimes you may get an invitation from the captain to join him and their team for tea. So I do suggest taking a few tea dresses with you, just one or two, just in case you are invited to that occasion. For packing for a trip on a Cunard, I did actually pack more ball gowns and more cocktail dresses than I probably needed, but this was for a few reasons. For the formal evenings on board Cunard, I wanted to dress really nicely because it was a really exquisite trip away for us at that time, and I wanted to make some great memories of my husband and I and our little girl. And when you're on board, there are photographers on board, and you do get to have your picture taken before you go into the restaurants, and if you're just browsing around the ship. No better excuse to have a photo taken than when you're dressed from head to toe in beautiful clothing and you've got your jewellery on and your hair and makeup is done and ready. It's such a nice memory to take away, so it really is worth going the extra mile to get ready for your photographs, and it's worth finding a photographer on board that can take photos for you. There's photographers all around the ship, and I found, like, not so much now, we tend to take our own photos, but we do, when we first started cruising, we used to just stop at every photography point and have a picture done, because every photography point where there's a photographer has a different backdrop, and they've all got their style of photography, and then you can view your pictures and you can choose which picture you want to take home with you. So it really is worth getting dressed up and doing your hair and makeup just to experience what a formal evening is like on board, because the food is really nice. The champagne is usually flowing, the wines, there's a different wine menu, and there's just lots of extra little touches that make your cruise unique. A quick example of what I would pack if I was going on a cruise for 1 week. A total of 4 maxi dresses, long summer dresses that you can wear during the day or at night time as well. You could probably choose a maxi dress that you could put a light casual jacket over if you want to look a bit smarter. Please don't forget your sun hats when you're out and exploring off the ship, because cruises usually go to places that are pretty warm in the summer. I always take a hat box on board with me. I take it on as a carry-on and I never check it in. For a week I'd take probably a total of 3 cocktail dresses with me, remembering to take shoes to match. I usually try and take 2 pairs of shoes that will match with all of my outfits. Don't forget, ladies, that if you're dressing up and you're going to put on your jewellery and do your hair and have your makeup done, you need to take a little handbag. My phone in there, my card key from my room, and probably something to keep my daughter occupied whilst at dinner. And by the way, if you're a family travelling with children, nobody is going to turn their heads if your child is sitting at the dinner table watching a DVD quietly with some headphones or playing on an iPad. To be a mum, and I know that when we go out for a nice meal, we will do anything to be able to eat our dinner in peace. Always take a pair of white jeans, a pair of black jeans, and a pair of casual jeans for the day. My black jeans usually come in handy for on the way home, and I'll always have my jacket ready for when I get off the ship at Southampton, because I know it's going to be raining. Other things I like to pack are 2 light cardigans and 1 heavy jumper. I'll also take my gym kit with me and a pair of trainers. Occasionally take 1 strapless bikini with me, just so along with my bikini I will take 2 swimsuits. To the ships we go on, they do have children's pools, but I remember the Celebrity Eclipse that we cruised with last year, they also have an indoor pool. It is only for adults, but they open it for 2 hours every afternoon for families. Other things I like to pack are a couple of pairs of shorts and some t-shirts, and then I always pack a nice comfortable pair of leggings. I take pyjamas for the evening, and then maybe just 1 or 2 summer dresses that I can just slip on over my bikini if it's not wet, or if I want to pop up to the cafe to grab myself a coffee or an ice cream. Obviously underwear would come in handy, and one thing to bear in mind is when you're going to be dressing up for formal evenings, you need to pack the right kind of underwear to go with your dress or your outfit. Well, thanks for joining me today. I think that's just about all. I'm planning on doing another video of what to pack for children when you take them on board a cruise. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see that. Thanks for joining me for my first video, and I hope I'm going to be back very soon with some more tips and advice about cruising. Please subscribe so you can stay up to date with my channel.